for CapitalWeatherGang.com. We're going to talk about another Monday, another severe weather chance, but luckily this severe weather chance is slight compared to last Monday's, a week ago, where we had the greater severe weather threats. So we'll go over the details on that. Just to be a little bit weather aware tomorrow, my latest forecast is right there at CWG.news/latest, the PM update. Anytime you need us, we're on CapitalWeatherGang.com. And here it is, this map shaded in the yellow for tomorrow, a slight 2 out of 5 chance for severe storms. The main threat being damaging wind gusts over 57 miles per hour. So let's go into more details, showing you maybe the storm animation with more than one round of storms possible tomorrow. We need to keep an eye on this tomorrow afternoon, evening, and even into the overnight hours. We'll go over the various threats like downpours, hail, tornadoes, and damaging wind gusts. But again, the severe weather threat is not nearly as high as it was last Monday or in late July when we last had some damage around the region. But this is supposed to give you an idea. This is a simulated radar forecast, not to be taken directly at face value, but it shows you several bands of potential storms moving through tomorrow afternoon and evening. And here are the numbers, followed by a graphical representation of what we can expect for tomorrow. In the upper left on the shaded yellow, that is the overall chance for severe storms tomorrow. And it's a 2 out of 5 chance. Good evening, Paul. And the main threat there is in the lower right-hand corner, also in yellow. That is shaded so that you can consider the primary threat as damaging wind gusts tomorrow over 57 miles per hour. Now over here in the lower left-hand corner, that is for hail greater than 1 inch in diameter. Only a very minuscule chance of issues there with hail, but I do want to draw your attention to this upper panel here, the upper right. That is a slight chance of tornadoes tomorrow. So far, if we do see any, they would be weak and not very long lasting, not on the ground very long. So we need to keep an eye on that kind of shaded brown region up there. And as you can see here by the numbers, it's only a 5 to 9% chance of tornadoes tomorrow. Again, weak and not on the ground for very long if we see any at all. But it's something to keep in mind, and also the time frame there from 3 to 9 p.m. thereabouts. But again, more than one round of storms is possible tomorrow. So we need to keep an eye on things by mid-afternoon into late evening, maybe even into overnight hours. But with the heating of the day, we should see a decrease in the strength of these storms, even if more than one band comes through tomorrow evening. All right, so we've got another chance that didn't appear here on our 4 panel, but the downpour chance, flooding downpour chance, is slight for tomorrow. Greater threat of a flood watch being issued northwest of town there in the yellow. So a little bit of good news that the kind of flooding downpour threats remain somewhat muted for tomorrow, but we can't rule out a few patchy flooding instances tomorrow in the region. So please make sure we just are aware of this wide menu of potential severe weather threats tomorrow, but overall chances are not nearly as high as last Monday, only level 2 out of 5, and compared to last Monday's level 4 out of 5 chance. So take it where we can get it. The rain over the next 7 days, again focused a little bit more west and north of town, as we saw with the downpour threat for tomorrow's storms as well. So central Virginia could be a little bit dry, but we are slowly chipping away at the drought in the region, which we'll get to in a moment. So don't forget, we, as I mentioned in my header here, Tuesday also has a very kind of minuscule but worthy of noting chance of severe storms, especially east of I-95. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Thanks, or X. I've changed the logo there, so please follow me on all 3 of our social media channels. I'm simulcasting to you live. Hi, Mahia. Greetings from Canada. I'm glad you missed last Monday's storm, but you had some flower pot damage on the deck. I'm sorry to hear that. Hey, Charlene. Oh, lots of damage. I'm sorry. In central Pennsylvania from Monday's storms, down trees, sheds blown over, fencing destroyed, roofs, and cars. Wow. Still trapped. I am very sorry, Charlene. I hope things continue to recover there in south central Pennsylvania. Hi, Rick. Tropics. Let's talk about that in a second. And David, good evening to you as well. So let's zoom ahead to the tropics, and of course anytime you need us. And needless to say, I'm Camden Walker for CapitalWeatherGang.com. We have it's fairly quiet. That's the first headline. Fairly quiet in the tropical Atlantic, Rick, but there is a slight under 40% chance that this Cape Verde disturbance near the Cabo Verde Islands coming off the west coast of Africa does develop in the next 7 days. It could take near the 7 days, and if we do see what our next named storm will be, Emily. I can't point to it very properly. Oh well. Emily is right there on that list. I'm working on Chroma Key, but I can't quite get it to work on this. But that's all right. Our next named storm, if it develops in the next 7 days, would be Emily. But overall, the headline is that the tropical Atlantic is pretty subdued, and the peak of hurricane season in the tropical Atlantic is towards September 10th, September 11th. So we will more likely than not to be getting more active by the next coming broadcast for our Sunday Sunset Chats. We will have more to talk about, I presume. Let's see, we've got pollen to talk about and some spores and the social media channels here on Facebook, X, Twitter, and YouTube. But I did want to point out mold is moderate and weeds are moderate as well. So if you're feeling a little something in your nasal passages or eyes, you're not completely imagining it, allergy suffers. So there is that as well. We've got, let's see, I've been jumping around. Let's go to the temperature slideshow for this week, kind of an animation of Monday there. Cooling a little bit on Tuesday, but Wednesday right here, that could be our reprieve from the heat and the humidity. The dew point scale may briefly dip into the 60s on Wednesday. That could be our most comfortable day. So soak it up if it does end up with, as forecast, a lower dew point and lower temperatures. But as you could see at the end of the week and into Saturday, it does get hotter again. But with a little bit of luck, we kind of keep those dew points hopefully below 70 degrees as we go into the weekend. So we'll watch that and keep you posted at capitalweathergang.com as we get closer. Looking further in advance toward next work week, yes, we could add maybe a little bit more to our heat tracker. Already 19 days year to date, but notice year to date averages is 31 90 degrees or hotter days for the year so far. So we're tracking a little bit less than average by this point in the year of days that are at least 90 degrees or hotter. But remember, when we're looking at this next week map for a slight preference toward above average, no, actually moderate preference of the atmosphere to be above average, it does take into account the entire week, and it takes into account low temperatures as well. So it takes, merely a muggy air mass to keep low temperatures a bit warmer to really contribute to week-on-week averages being higher as well. So it takes into account 24-hour temperatures and the week overall as well. So not a guarantee we see 90 or higher next week, but there's a decent heat signal there. So I wanted to put up our heat tracker. We could add to that as well. Hello, Peter. Hello, Rick. You're most welcome. Elizabeth, temperatures are going to start trending down in a week historically. Yes, but you're right. Let's make that a good note. Our average highs this time of year, average high temperatures, are generally in the mid-80s. So when you see, as this benchmark lowers from that 90-degree mark during the hottest mid-July point of our year for the high temperatures from 90, we're back down toward 84, 85 for an average high temperature around the Beltway. So this is good to see a heat signal instead of mid-July and mid-August. It with our benchmark coming down of average, when you see above average, it should hopefully not equate to quite a huge heat wave that it would in mid-July. So Elizabeth, that's a good point I think you're trying to make. I like that a lot to think about. It's been positive. So precipitation in the coming work week, 8+ days out. No major signal either way that we see below or above average precipitation, but we could use it in some spots. The rain deficit over the last 14 days showing you the hit or miss nature of the warm season rains. Primarily our rain source is thunderstorms or hit or miss thunder showers this time of year. So we're struggling in a few spots, maybe mere miles away. Your neighbor is doing really good in the garden or on the farm, or you're doing the opposite of that neighbor and you're very dry, very wet. It's a patchwork throughout the region, and we can expect more of the same through roughly September. Our primary rain source used to probably be thunderstorms and thunder showers. So you've been watering a little bit more for your farm, irrigating your farm or watering your garden in the oranges and the yellows and the reds over the last 14 days most likely. And the drought, though, good news, the longer term droughts that the rain deficit kind of turns into, and we have longer term rain deficits, the drought is improving north of town, finally out of that D2 level, which is a severe drought. We're back down to a D1, a moderate drought, north of kind of northwest of town, and that light orange shading. So that is some good news. Hello, Ruth Elisa. Thanks so much for tuning in. All right, I think we checked in on pollen. I can do so again really quick. A little bit of weeds, a little bit of molds. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, and X, of course. I've changed the logo there. We now can call it X as well. I'm Camden Walker for CapitalWeatherGain.com. Thanks for tuning in for a weekly Sunday Sunset Chat. On the air, another 10 minutes of our 20-minute chat every week on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. It's going to take me a while to call it X, so I'll keep working on that, but at least I changed the logo this week. And we were talking about tropics being quiet overall in the tropical Atlantic. Only one disturbance with a minor under 40% chance of developing over near the Cabo Verde, Cape Verde Islands. That disturbance only has a 20-30% chance of developing in the next 7 days. It could take its time if it develops at all. Should it become a named storm, it would be Tropical Storm Emily there on our list. That is the next item there on our named storm list in the tropical Atlantic. All right, let's get you back to the latest forecast at CWG.news/latest. We are talking about another Monday, another severe weather threat. Luckily, only slight chances for severe storms tomorrow compared to last Monday, which was a much higher severe weather threat. But we do have a menu of threat options to choose from for tomorrow. Many are on the table, but luckily not in total high probability, high likelihood fashion. But there's my latest forecast at PM update right there on CapitalWeatherGain.com, or go directly to CWG.news/latest. And in the yellow here is the highlighted severe weather threat for tomorrow. The overall probability is a 2 out of 5 chance on the scale of the Storm Prediction Center. David, not as strong as last week. That was indeed crazy. I'm glad your work let out early. Next week, we do still want to be a little cognizant of commuting times tomorrow. Not yet a guarantee. We'll have more of an update for you tomorrow on CapitalWeatherGain.com. But I did personally like the early out by OPM, by the government last week at 3 p.m. Commuting, the timing for tomorrow's downpours and storms could again be 4-5 p.m. around the Beltway. So we need to keep that in mind. And if you can be flexible with all your scheduling tomorrow for commuting, for daycare, for your work, if you can be flexible and maybe consider again working remotely in the mid to late afternoon, wouldn't be a horrible idea. But again, it's less of a chance tomorrow than last Monday. It's just worth highlighting that if you can have flexibility, that would be great. Here's a forecast idea by one weather model of what the radar might look like tomorrow, not to be taken at direct face value, but you can see multiple rounds of storms. A few lines might try to move through for between mid-afternoon and late evening tomorrow. The severe weather threat should wane late tomorrow evening, but it's not a sure thing yet. We could still see enough energy in the atmosphere to keep churning out 1 or 2 severe storms even into later tomorrow evening. By the numbers and graphically speaking, here is our menu of severe weather threats tomorrow. Again, upper left highlights only a slight probability. We're keeping it in perspective. Only a slight overall 2 out of 5 chance of seeing severe storms tomorrow. But let's focus on the primary threat here in the lower panel, lower right panel. That's also in yellow to indicate a slight probability of wind damage tomorrow, with wind gusts, damaging wind gusts perhaps over 57 miles per hour. That's the threshold when they're 58 miles per hour or greater. But of note, there's still a slight chance there in the lower left, shaded green, for hail that's large, over 1 inch in diameter. And tornadoes can't be ruled out either tomorrow. In the brown shading there, I'm a little bit concerned, a 5 to 9% chance, as I pointed out here by the numbers, a 5 to 9% chance there in the brown shading in the upper right for a weak tornado, short-lived, not on the ground too long as it looks now, but it's rare in DC to be talking about tornadoes, so always worth highlighting as we look at this severe weather threat for tomorrow. And the time frame, the best estimate I have right now is 3 to 9 p.m., but we'll give you a better update tomorrow as this kind of congeals, and kind of a near-term forecast should become higher confidence as well. But downpours, flooding downpours, 5 to 14% chance there. I want to show you the graphic that goes along with that. Luckily, around town, we don't have too high of a chance for flooding downpours tomorrow, but it's still there, notable in the shading of the green. But northwest of town has a higher chance in the yellow there of seeing a flood watch issued for tomorrow during these potentially strong to severe storms. So let's keep that in mind. We have downpours, gusty winds, hail, maybe tornadoes. A lot to think about, but the good news is only a slight chance, much less chance than last Monday's severe weather threat. So I want to keep it in perspective, but also make sure you're not surprised tomorrow. And if you can, plan to be flexible for the commuting and work schedule mid-afternoon onward into the evening. That would be ideal if you're lucky enough to be able to do that. So let's just keep that in the back of our minds as we watch this severe weather chance tomorrow. Rain amounts overall favored north and west of town for heavy in the next 7 days, and with tomorrow's threat for flooding downpours. Much of this could fall Monday and maybe Tuesday, which I didn't want to completely forget. I did mention that in some of my headlines mentioned here with this broadcast, that we do have Tuesday as well, a slight chance east of 95 is where we're thinking the threat lies right now. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Thanks for following me on all 3 of our social media channels. And anytime you need us, we're at capitalweathergang.com. I am Camden Walker, and so happy to see so many of you on our weekly Sunday Sunset Chat. Let's see. Oh, Lewis, I appreciate that I've been working on my audio. That is very kind of you to keep me posted. I always appreciate technical feedback. It is the best when my friends, family, and commenters, and Lewis, you've been streaming with me for many years now. I appreciate hearing from you. Paul, Friday is looking okay. Kind of a warm, fairly dry heat for DC anyway. But I don't want to completely rule out the chance for a thunderstorm, Paul. David asked, do I see a severe thunderstorm or tornado watch tomorrow being issued? Still too soon to say. I wouldn't be surprised if they lean toward a severe thunderstorm watch for the broader area. That's my guesstimate right now. But those discussions at the National Weather Service and Storm Prediction Center don't exactly congeal until a few hours before a severe weather threat. They really want to see how much sunshine we get tomorrow, and that's worth noting that if your location sees a good and great enough number of clouds, if you're mostly cloudy through 2 p.m., that definitely lessens your personal current location's severe weather chance. That really stops the atmosphere from percolating and bubbling up as well. Renee, you're most welcome. Glad to see you. Summer is indeed humid, Alex, and you're thinking about the timing. At least this upcoming weekend might be warm and tolerable humidity. I hope that helps. Rain on Monday hopefully also is okay. It doesn't ruin weekend plans in a way. So I hope that is some solace. Alex, thanks so much for tuning in from Facebook. Let me check Twitter. Looks like I've caught up there. And YouTube, I've caught up with you. And Charlene, I hope you can try and go out with the Perseids tonight. I think there are still decent chances with broken cloud cover at times. I think, Charlene, you should go for it, especially if you're away from city lights there in South Central Pennsylvania. All right, I think I've caught up for now. Camden Walker for CapitalWeatherGang.com. Let me know if you have any other questions the next 2 minutes. I am still on the air. Here's the Tuesday map for severe weather favoring east of I-95. PM update is here. CWG.news/latest is the direct link, or anytime go to CapitalWeatherGang.com. Let me run through things really quick. All right, Charlene, I'm glad you'll go out and see the Perseids, the meteors. That could be cool. I think you should try it. All right. So, dew point scale in context with our temperatures this upcoming week. We have a little bit of a downtrend, a break on Wednesday in the heat and the humidity. I think we could get some low to mid 60s if we're lucky in the dew points on Wednesday. So focus on Wednesday if you want to get outside in lower humidity. But keep in mind we have to get past our severe weather chance on Monday. Another one east of town on Tuesday. Finally get that final cold front pushes out to sea for Wednesday as I hit my microphone with excitement. But then we do warm back up again at the end of the week into the weekend as well. And we could add a little bit more under our heat tracker even into next week. Forecast temperatures are leaning with decent probability of above average, so we could add more to our 19 heat tracking days of 90 or hotter this time of year. We are running, look at that, below average. Normally we have 31 year to date. Paul, I don't see a cooling trend. Maybe at the very end of the month, maybe. Keep your fingers crossed. Amy, closer to fall weather. We've seen upper 90s at the end of September, so I don't often in the DC area like to promise autumnal weather until maybe mid-October, mid to late October. Forgive me, but of course, that's the climatological facts nowadays as we get a warmer and warmer climate. But I will, of course, be looking for that, and I'll keep you updated on foliage as we get into November. Sometimes it can wait until Thanksgiving to get peak foliage in the DC area as well. So Amy, I hope I'm a big fan of fall, but I don't want to get your hopes up just yet. The drought, Paul, let's touch on that really quick. That is a great question. So rain deficit, it's still hit or miss in the last 14 days. You've been watering your garden or irrigating your farm in the orange and yellows in the last 14 days, more often than the people who in the locations in the blues who've seen over 100% of rain. But the drought has improved, Paul. That's a great question. No more severe drought, D2 level drought in the region north of DC. Merely a D1, a moderate drought in the light orange there. So I hope that is some solace. We're getting there, chipping away at it as we were forecasting earlier this summer. It just took a little while for our summer outlook to kind of come to fruition with higher rain chances. Thanks for following me. I'm going to sign off in a moment. I'm Camden Walker. CapitalWeatherGang.com is our address anytime you need us. The PM update is at CWG.news/latest, and there's some pollen update for you as well. So if you are feeling some mold or ragweed, you're not making it up yet in your eyes or nose, but CWG.news/latest is my latest forecast and PM update on the blog. Anytime you need us, we're at CapitalWeatherGang.com. Please remember, tomorrow we do have this severe weather chance, and again on Tuesday as well. I'm just putting up a lot here at the last second here, but Tuesday's favored to be east of town, so we will be a little bit more out of the woods around the Beltway and westward come Tuesday. But we will keep an eye on this tomorrow and give you more of an update the next couple of days. Really appreciate you tuning in. I'll see you next Sunday. Let me get this into a cleaner form there. But we'll watch the severe weather chances for Monday and Tuesday, especially with the slight chance of tornadoes, flooding, a little bit of hail perhaps. The primary threat is damaging wind gusts tomorrow and perhaps Tuesday as well, for wind gusts inside thunderstorms being over 57 miles per hour. All right, you have a good week, Carol. You're most welcome, Paul, Amy, take care, Charlene, and David, and Ruth Elisa. Tuesday is better to run errands than Monday, Ruth Elisa, and Renee, I am glad you tuned in. I hope you are feeling informed. All right, I think we are good for now. Take care, and bye-bye.